What's going on, Jeromes? We're back. Daily Jeromes live stream, Monday through Thursday. Well, except for this week. We'll get into that. Talking Vikings, talking draft, talking free agency. Thank you very much for coming along. A couple pieces of business. So, Teespring store down below. If you use promo code DRAFT, save 21% off over the next couple of days. Well, starting tomorrow. So, gear up. Also, all proceeds from the Teespring store, donations from the Venmo or in the Super Chat on YouTube will be going to the Sheridan Story. It's a nonprofit organization in the Twin Cities dedicated to ending childhood hunger in the Twin Cities. So during draft, lots of content coming out, a couple bucks going our way. It's going to go their way. Thank you very much for doing that. So tomorrow, we're not going to have a daily stream at 11 since we're going to be streaming tomorrow night for the draft. We'll start about 6:45, something like that. We'll come on. It'll be very informal. We'll watch the draft together. But when the Vikings make the pick, we'll have to dip out. We'll have to do some work. Maybe we'll come back in. I don't really know. But we got some Qs. We got some As. Let's fire that thing up. So let's get it started. First up, 69. Nice. Hey, it's the Lulls. If you had to choose between Joe, Disgusting at Buck, and Octogenarian Aaron Rodgers to be the new permanent host of Jeopardy, who'd you pick? I would pick Joe Buck, because I actually think that he would be good at it, unlike Aaron Rodgers, who I don't know why everyone was creaming in their jeans over Rodgers in Jeopardy, where I broke my boycott. I said to watch half an episode, and he wasn't very good. Like, he wasn't smooth. You could tell that it was a little bit labored, a little bit awkward. Or, you know who's really good guest hosting? Anderson Cooper, because he does that for a living. He talks, he presents, he's a TV guy. Same thing with Joe Buck. So even though Joe Buck is whatever, I mean, I still enjoy Joe Buck as an announcer, just not football. Well, when Joe Buck does baseball, he's phenomenal. Or when they when, because it's not if, it's when he guest hosts Jeopardy in a couple weeks, that'll be fine. He'll be fine. Evan Casconway. Rank Jamar Johnson, Hamza, Ardarius, and Stearns. I will go Jamar, Ardarius, Hamza, Stearns. There you go. Hudson, Houston, W. Based on potential coming out of Oklahoma, where does AP go in this year's draft? Well, it's a lot different league than it was in 2007. So I think that he would fall, ironically, probably to the Vikings at 14. Now, I think that he may take a draft day tumble since he was a great running back, but two-down Tyrant, wasn't adding much in the receiving game. I think he may fall. God, where would he go? The Raiders. The Raiders pairing up with Josh Jacobs. Actually, the Cardinals at 16 would make sense. Ironically, Adrian was a Cardinal for a hot second. King Kirk. KJ Osborne, I've been posting him, putting in work on the Instagram. Yeah, I've been watching that, where I like Osborne's attitude. He posts a lot of like inspirational, motivational quotes and stuff, and he's doing that work where obviously the rookie season was disappointing. Got benched thrice, which is not great, but I think that he could compete this year. Would like to see it. Hayden. Will Jefferson ever be looked at as a top 5 wide receiver or no, just because he plays for Minnesota? I think that he will be first team All-Pro this season. He will be seen as the best receiver in the league. Tim 03. Fun fact, KJ Hamler got more bench press reps as combine 15 than Orlando Brown Jr. 14. Hamler weighs like, I don't know, maybe $170. But Orlando Brown Jr., it wasn't so much talent or physical ability. He just quit. He just quit at the combine. Of course, that's very concerning as well. But I mean, the Ravens have shown they did get a hell of a value for a third-round pick, and now the Chiefs get a good player. Patrick Harms. I can't express how, because you think about the combine, those numbers will stick with that player forever. Forever. Because even if we're talking about a 12-year veteran who's a free agent and he signs with a team, we always go back to his combine numbers. Like, oh, he ran a 4.45 40 back in the day. And I mean, lots of things go in. Like, maybe people are allowed to have a bad day. Maybe they just got some horrible life news. Maybe this, maybe that. Maybe they weren't in the right headspace. Even though, yes, this is the most important job interview of your career. One day, just do these drills. But I don't know. Patrick Harms, the can't express how badly I don't want either of the Miami edges in the first round. I like Phillips. He's a big-time gamble. I think if the Vikings had a second-round pick, I would be more inclined to take a shot on Phillips if the top 3 tackles are gone. Rousseau, I'm just whatever on. Blake Bourg. Just some names to the draft in the later rounds. Let me know. Just some names. Thoughts on Shakir Brown. Like his length. Pride of Michigan State. Tommy Tremble. Good inline blocker. Actually, he's kind of well-rounded, good at everything. If we can get him in the fourth round, it'd be great. Aaron Banks. So Banks has size. He doesn't necessarily play with the strength that his size suggests. And I've talked ad nauseum about non-scheme fit guards. Aaron Banks is definitely not that guy. But even dudes like Deontay Brown or Ben Cleveland or Trey Smith, I'd prefer much more over Aaron Banks. Malcolm Coots, undersized, decent edge rusher. Small school project coming out of Buffalo. I would be intrigued. Shi Smith. Love the speed, love the agility, love the return ability, but he does have problems tracking the ball. That would be a concern. And then Deontay Smith. Deontay Smith, he needs to redshirt for 2 years. He needs to eat 6,000 calories a day. He needs to get up to like 325. But man. Super intriguing guy coming out of East Carolina. Next up, Payne's Comics. What strengths or abilities determine whether a player should play strong middle or weak side linebacker? Well, strong side, you need more size. And generally, your strong side linebacker and middle linebacker are going to be better against the run. Weak side, you're playing the open side of the field, so away from the tight end, and a little bit more rangy, a little bit more coverage, a little bit more coverage skill based in terms of being a weak side linebacker. And middle linebacker, it kind of comes and goes, and it varies in between a 4-3 and a 3-4. Now with the Vikings, Kendricks is tasked with covering the middle of the field since they do run a lot of Tampa 2, and he does have that skill set. But then you see middle linebackers like, what's the Texans guy's name? Cunningham? Yeah, where he's throwbacks. Or like Brandon Spikes back in the day, where 3-4 middle linebackers are basically almost like extra linemen, where they got size, they're going to stuff the run, they're going to be on the field for 2 downs. Yeah, so it's a little bit different all over the place. Peng Hanlong. Andy, tell us your confidence level of the Vikings to get some legit offensive line players, draft or trade. What if they start Dakota Doja and Drew Samia for real? Confidence is relatively low, but I always like to be proven wrong. Alex Muldry. Heard you mention you went to Winona State back in the day. I just recently moved to Winona for a job. Anything I should know? Fun things to do, go see, go places, good place to eat. Well, Winona is definitely a college town, and like there aren't really like high-end places to eat. As adults like to go to, but it's a fun college town. A couple of the good restaurants shut down, Jefferson's and Betty Joe's, which is unfortunate. But there's a place called Boobs, B-U-B-S, just a really good like bar and grill type place. Let's see, anything else? I don't know. If you like to drink, you're in for a good time. But even absent that, like the lakes are beautiful. If you like getting out and about, climbing up to Garvin Heights is great. Trails, hiking, bike riding. I mean, there's lots to do. Plus, you're on the river, so you can't really go wrong with that. Zach Ballas. When GameStop moves, which franchise do you want to bring to Minnesota and co-own with me? Let's get an English Premier League team. I don't care that the important word is English. Whatever, we're getting one. Next up. Zuzu, thoughts on the new number change? I'm fine with it. I think it's pretty cool. Some people are like dead set against it. I'm just like, whatever. Zach Ballas, what will your dream FU Bills move with the 4th round pick we got from the Diggs trade? I still think it's a win-win, but I don't think it's FU overall. Maybe they get a guy like Josh Palmer, the wide receiver from Tennessee with their 4th round pick, or Jalen Darden, or Schwartz, or whoever. So not only do you have Justin friggin' Jefferson from the Diggs trade, but you have another really good wide receiver. So 2 for the price of 1. Sure. Nitro Mix 316. Thoughts on Stone Forsett? Some people thought he could get in the 1st round. What people are they? Now. But Forsett, he's definitely a project, kind of a one-year wonder. He's athletic as all heck at his size. I think he's 6'8", like 360, somewhere in there. But you do have to parse out, with a lot of tackles, you do have to parse out the type of offense. And with Florida's spread option offense, even though you have a very immobile quarterback in Kyle Trask, the ball is quick, simple reads, half-field reads. So is he really that good in pass protection? I understand he's in the SEC, or is it more of a timing thing? So that's always difficult to parse out. But in terms of just an athletic project, sure. Like, I would take Forsyth 4th round. Like, I ain't touch him in the 1st round. There was a mock draft that had him going to the Vikings in the 3rd. I was just like, nah, because Forsyth needs to sit for probably 2 years. The Stugatz. Thoughts on the Vikings kicking the tires on Richard Sherman one last time? No. I mean, if the Vikings were a cover 3 heavy team, sure. But Sherman, he's probably going to sign with the Jets and follow Robert Saleh. He'll probably get decent money too. Westworld. Favorite part of attending WSU was strongly considered before transferring to ISU. I think it's a fun school. It's relatively cheap since it's a state school. The social aspect, it's a lot of fun, which, it's an extremely important part of college. Like, I understand academics and advancing your career, but making lifelong friends, networking for people who are in similar fields to you, that all makes sense. It was a fun college town. Madden. What handy tips do you have for living in frigid states like Minnesota and New York during the winter? Take a vitamin D supplement. Beyond that, stay as active as possible. It's really easy, especially when it's cold, especially when it's crappy out, to just sit on the couch and watch Netflix and just eat bad. But make sure that you're always moving, just some sort of movement every single day. That could be joining a gym. That could be something as simple as, just in your basement in the house, doing some shadow boxing, doing some calisthenics, throwing some weights around if you got them, riding a stationary bike or elliptical if you got that at your house, or even if you just live in an apartment, just do some calisthenics, just get moving. And you don't have to be bouncing up and down and annoying your neighbors, but do some sit-ups, do some flutter kicks, do some burpees, do burpees during the day, because then they'll be less annoying to people around you. Do some push-ups. Just stay active as much as possible during the winter. Because it's easy to get into a funk. Pulford Sculpt. Thoughts on Friday live stream to do day 1 and possibilities for day 2? Nope, I'm going to be doing jiu-jitsu all day Friday. Westworld. Thoughts on the rumor that Elijah Moore may be a play for the Packers 29? That would suck. Elijah Moore is a really good player. I would hate it. Actually, like any wide receiver at that stage of the draft. So Marshall, Rondale Moore, Tony, Elijah Moore, Bateman. Yeah, that would all suck. Tristan D, what's your plans for the draft? I'm just going to watch it with my family and order some Buffalo Wild Wings. I'm going to watch it with your family and watch them and get some Buffalo Wild Wings. Now, I'll probably just sit here on the live stream, but just watch, probably just yell, complain about the Lions. Stupid team and their stupid faces. Ira Coughlin, what happened to Leatherwood? I feel like he just dropped after the championship game. I don't know. I feel like with Leatherwood, I think that he potentially would be best suited to kick inside, even though his time at guard at Alabama wasn't that great. So I think that he's more of a tweener. And I think it's more about the rise of guys like Slater and Darisaw and Cosme and Raduns. But I think that he's going to be a solid round 2 pick. And he'll go somewhere. Maybe start. We'll see. Next up. Oh, Producer Alley. On that wall. Need you on that wall. Next up. Tristan D. If Christian Darisaw and Devontae Smith were somehow on board when the Vikings pick, who would you choose? Darisaw. It's close though. Robert Laguerre. Is there any scenario besides DaCosta showing up to work drunk where the Ravens trade round 1s for 14? Probably not. I guess maybe if Jamar Chase killed the guy, and of course we know the Ravens history, then maybe. But absent that, like, I didn't even think that they come up for Devontae. I don't think that they do anything like that. So, nah. Next up. Chris King, where do you think Wyatt Davis goes? I think that he will be a high-end second-round pick. Let's see who's up in the second round. NFL draft. Actually, the Jaguars at the top of the second would make a lot of sense. Since, they have McCann, they brought back Andrew Norwell. So yeah, the Jaguars make sense. The Jets, it makes sense if they don't go offensive line first time around, or second time around, I guess. Yeah, basically all these teams could certainly use offensive line help. The Bengals, yes, keeping him in Ohio. The Panthers, yes. Broncos, yes, they've been a mess at the guard spots. Absent Dalton Reisner. Next up. Oh, well, let us know where you're watching from. Give a couple shout outs. Yeah, producer Allie's a sniper right now. Next up. Purple Rain, $10 in super chat. Thank you. Thank you. Eric Rudin. Most underrated or overlooked wide receiver in Vikings history? Probably Anthony Carter. Anthony Carter's a bad dude, man. Like, he was the OG Carter before Chris showed up. But yeah, Anthony Carter's a stud. Yeah, what was it? 246 yards receiving in one game. Might have been more than that. Gets the Niners. Number 2, Wild fan. Not really. Nah. Are they in the playoffs? I know that one kid is good. That's the extent of my hockey knowledge. Hunter Williams. Skull from Savage. Keep up the great content. Thank you. Where would you want the Vikings to pick in the second round? 33. Yeah. I think in terms of trading up, getting to the back end of the second means that they won't have to give up both thirds and both fourths. Because we did the video earlier about the relative trade chart value. And getting into the back end here would make sense. Yeah. Next up, I'll give a couple shots. Mark Sonnenberg, Rhinelander, Wisconsin. Pulford Skull, Nashville. What up, Mr. Couch from England. Brock Swanson, Casson. Sam Heckel, Minneapolis. What's going on? Purple Rain, Wausau, Wisconsin. Ira Coffin, Fayetteville. What's going on? David Schaeffer, Skull from Freiburg. What's up? You guys are the best. Thanks for coming along. Next up. Turtle, Rochester, Mid-City. What's up? Next up. Angling. My friend said, I guarantee the Packers will win the Super Bowl. I told him we'll sweep next year. Thoughts? Well, the Packers aren't going to win the Super Bowl. Sweep might be tough. But the Vikings got done in Green Bay last year. Hopefully they'll take care of business this year. Would like to see that. So I like your side much better than his side. Actually, you should be like, hey, if you're so certain the Packers going to win the Super Bowl, let's bet even money. Great person. Thank you for the content. Thank you. Happy draft season. Do you think 14 is too high for AVT if the top 3 tackles are off the board? No, not necessarily. But in terms of players who will be available, if the top 3 tackles go, so Sewell, Darisaw, and Slater, that means that someone else is going to drop. So you may have a decision where AVT or Parsons, AVT or Devontae or Waddle, AVT or quarterback, right? AVT or cornerback. Oh, man. Surtain, JC Horn. AVT is a good player, too. And again, every time we talk about 14 might be a little bit too rich for AVT, it's not so much about him. It's about the rest of the value on the board. That's why the Vikings are in both a good and sort of stuck scenario. Next up, a couple more shouts. The Booga Booga Man, Mission Viejo. Samuel Henne, Bloomington. Samson Romaine, Afton. Nick Kuzas, Fargo. Daniel Tuma, Maryland. What's up? You guys are the best. Next up, Tanner Smits. How do you think the Vikings get back in the second round? They stick and pick or trade up in round 1? Package up the thirds, fourths, and the fifths. It's the way to do it. Merchant Robles, going to grill anything for draft day tomorrow? Maybe. Maybe I'll just take out a nice ribeye. And if the Vikings select my players of choice at 14, we'll fire that thing up. Ethan Griffith. How many total picks do we end up having this year, and how many 7th rounders after Rick works his magic this year? I think the Vikings will end up with 9. 2 of them will be 7s. Detailer, name 5 players you absolutely don't want the Vikings touching in the draft. I mean, there isn't really 5 that I'm adamantly against. In terms of, well, it all comes down to relative value, right? The only player I really did not want recently was Greg Little. coming out of North Carolina. I like Jefferson. I just didn't think that he would be a schematic fit here with the Vikings. But, of course, he certainly was perfectly fine. But, I don't know, I guess if they traded up in the second to draft Kyle Trask, I think that's a little bit too rich for him, or massively too rich for him. If they stick and pick, say, Jason Away at 14, I think that's too. You're giving up your bleeding value there. See, third round. Oh, if they take a guy like Stone Forsyth in the third round, I think that's way too soon. Or hell, if they take a kicker in the third or fourth round, yeah, that would make sense. John Schwartz. My hot take for the draft is that the Dolphins take Parsons at 6 and try to trade up to 14 for a big 3 receiver, and the Vikings take Joke at 18. I would be okay with that, especially. Well, can we squeeze out a second-round pick, drop them from 14 to 18? Yeah, where are the Dolphins up? Yeah, can we get 36? Can we get 30? I'll settle for 50. I'll settle for 50, dropping back 4 spots because I am magnanimous here. Next up, Nathan Schultz. Who has to be available at 14 for the Ravens to give us 2 first? I think the 2 high-end receivers. Right. Well, I guess it would be 3. Kyle Pitts probably is not going to fall. Chase probably is not going to fall. So Devontae or Waddle if they're there. Maybe. Tristan D, did you see the Vikings tweet to the Broncos on Twitter? Oh, is that after Spielman's presser where he's like, hey, George Payton. Blah. Whatever. Miles. If Trey Lance and a top 3 offense tackle is on the board and we select something different, I'm no longer a Vikings fan. So if Trey Lance or Slater or Darrisaw were there and then they go, I don't know, J.C. Horn, that'd be kind of rough. Sam Heckel. The 605, the Kyle Hinton 605 squat looked really good. I'm relatively new to the channel. Started watching around week 12 of 2020. One of the best YouTube channels around. Thank you. I'm into powerlifting and lifting in general. You seem to know more than the average person kind of stuff. Are you into powerlifting or do you lift? Probably not as much as I should, but you know, we throw some weights around every now and then. But yeah, the Kyle Hinton squat was textbook. It was just ass to grass, good form, good foot placement. And I compare that to, so there's a Myles Garrett squat where he did 675, where it was like a half a squat. He's leaning forward. It was really herky-jerky. And it's like, that's just how you murder your back, bro. But no, Kyle Hinton, like that wasn't even a single rep, 1-rep PR. Like there was no one spotting him. He probably put up 700 if he wanted to, easily. Tristan Bailey. I have a $100 bet with a buddy of mine that the Vikings go over 500 this season. What are my odds? I think your odds are pretty good. I'd say probably, I don't know, negative 200. So Vikings, what would that be, 66% to be over 500? I think it's pretty fair. Angling. Are we seeing any more single-digit numbers on the Vikes? Just Patrick Peterson so far. I think maybe Mac might switch since, even though he's been assigned a number, I mean, that's really easy to switch around. I mean, dudes switch numbers in training camp all the time. And also the rookies coming in. So that'd be interesting. McNiller. Will Justin freaking Jefferson become the greatest skill position player in Vikings history? Probably. The man is already brought into Fortnite. We're witnessing a legend in the making. Yeah, he has definitely been adopted very quickly by the mainstream, and he's putting in that work. I think that he will certainly back it up. Rick Spielman would be doing another live stream on draft night. Yep, no live stream during the day tomorrow, but 6:30 p.m. Central Time tomorrow night we'll be on. DG. I would love them all, but we would get a winner regardless. But who would you choose, or who would be a better fit at running back for us? Michael Carter or Trey Sermon? You think Carolina would have done better? Because, I mean, they have Sam Howell, they had Daz, they had Diami, they had Javonte, they had Michael Carter. I think Trey Sermon, given his size and given Ohio State's propensity to run a lot of outside zone, Michael Carter's a stud too, but I think Trey Sermon just gives you a little bit extra that the Vikings don't really have. I mean, Trey Sermon can be a hammer. Kevin Murphy. If the Vikings move up within the top 10, who is it for? Slater? If it's set into the top 7, it's probably Sewell. If it's into the top 8 to 10, I would say it's either Darius or Slater. Yeah, certainly fine with either one of them. The disappointed Viking fan, who would win, 99 Danielle Hunter or 150 Kirk Cousins in Buzz Lightyear suits? Daniils. Like, you could have 150 Kirks and like 5 Daniils or 4, like a fire squad of fire team of Daniils, and you'd be good. Josh Imset, if you could award 4 states that don't have a team, their own franchise, which states would it be, and what would their logos be? I would go. Oh, we talked about this one before. The ABQ blue, the Albuquerque blue, the Sioux City. Wait, no, the Rapid City monuments from Batman. I know, Dark Knight Rises. I would go. Well, Kansas technically doesn't have a team because the Chiefs are in Missouri. I would go the Fayetteville Arkansas tomatoes. Because Arkansas tomatoes are good, man. And the Montana Mustangs. That'd be great. I'm playing Billings or something. Yeah, go ahead. Merchant Robles. The video he made about Rick, Mike, and Kirk made me laugh. Yeah, check that out. We did a sketch. We're not really sketch people, but we dip our toe in every now and then. Big Papa Bert. Call me crazy, but I think James Robinson finished the season top 5 in rushing yards, above Kamara, below Chubb, CMC, Henry, Dalvin. It's possible. Urban Meyer does like to run the football, and James Robinson was a stud last year, man. Coming out of Illinois State, UDFA out of nowhere. Pulford Skull. Do you believe Zimmer needs to go in order to draft quality all-around offensive line? I don't think they're mutually exclusive, but he needs to butt out at times. Like, are you the coach or are you the guy who's like, the cornerback looks pretty good? Miles, Trey Lance is a franchise quarterback to making, besides not playing as much as Patrick Mahomes at Texas Tech or Josh Allen at Wyoming. He's got everything else. I kind of wish the Missouri Valley Football Conference would have had a season last year, as opposed to that stupid one-off game, but what can you do? Diego Suarez. I don't think AVT is worth the 14th pick. Maybe trade down and we still get him, plus some change. It's possible, but you have to be given decent value to trade down, and a team needs to want to trade up. So that's not always a guarantee. And if it comes down to it, do you want him or not? Like, would you want him at 14, or would you prefer him at, I don't know, 19 with an extra 3rd round pick or whatever? I'll just take him. Pulford Skull. Rondale Moore St. Brown, Rondale, Chuba, or Patterson. Chuba, but it's closer than you would think. It's your last pick in the late 7th. Can you go Borregals, Chrisman, or McPherson? I will go McPherson. Yeah. Kicker hot takes. Miles, if it's a defensive player, I'd have to guess, hope for it's Micah Parsons, Joke, or Phillips. J.C. Horn's really good. Surtain is really good. And I understand it's a trope and it's a whatever with Zimmer and cornerbacks. But, man, overall, as long as it's not a massive reach. So, Parsons, yes. Joke, yes. Phillips, yes. Barmore, I get it. Pay, I get it. Aziz, I get it. Surtain and J.C. Horn, yes. Farley might be a gamble. Or Morig, that's a little bit too rich. Asante Samuel, that's a little bit too rich. Zaven Collins, I like a lot, but not at 14. On Muzariki, I just want like a hand grenade to go off in that draft. I want something nuts to happen. Like I want Levi on Wuzariki at 8 to the Panthers. Derek Brown on Wuzariki. Go get it. Logan Finn, what rank do you think our defense will be overall? 5. Also, what would your predictions be for MVP, Offensive Player of the Year, and Defensive Player of the Year? I will go Dalvin, Jefferson, and Daniil. Face. But absent Vikings, I will go probably stupid Mahomes again. Actually, no. I'll go Derrick Henry. I'll go Derrick Henry MVP, Offensive Player of the Year, Mahomes, and Defensive Player of the Year, TJ Watt. I think Aaron Donald's going to start to regress a little bit. Even even him regressing, he's still going to be a top 5 tackle. Miles, only one more day until draft day. Who's your most recent draft crush? Most recent? Probably Radunz. Probably Cam Sample. Probably Josh Palmer. That's an OG one, though. Demetric Felton I've loved forever. Shakur Brown. Trey Brown. Tariq Thompson, the safety. Oh, Stills. Stills as a late day 3 pick. Sure. I've really warmed up to Davis Mills. Done a little bit more work on him. Of course, there's not a lot of film to watch on him. But yeah, I would be very open to maneuvering gaining Davis Mills day 2. CBO Vikings. Why don't teams rotate interior offensive linemen? I think it's more of a chemistry and continuity thing. Yeah, because communication and being able to move and switch non-verbally, I think that really plays into it. Because I've wondered that too. It's like, how come there aren't your regular starting offensive linemen and then goal line offensive linemen? Right? Actually, that would make sense. Get Oli Udoh in there. Get Zach Bailey in there. Draft Ben Cleveland. Draft Aaron Banks or Deontay Brown. God. Ethan Griffith. Spielman sounded pretty stuffed up like he had a cold during presser yesterday. Hope he's better by Thursday. I could just draft from home. I bet you a lot of guys will miss that. It was a good experience last year. Miles, Rick Spoon's worst mistake was not drafting Trey Lance if he falls out of the top 4. Well, depends how much he'd have to trade up to go get him. Or if he fell at 14, yeah, just take him at 14. Madden, would you rather bet on the upside of Rousseau or just take Boogie Basham in the second? I would just take Basham. I think Boogie's massively underrated. Great against the run, sets the edge, power rusher. And just plant his ass at the left defensive end with Wanham and Weatherly. Daniil on the blind side. Let's go. That's it. That's the Daily Jerome's live stream for today. Remember, no stream tomorrow, but we'll be streaming tomorrow night. Also, Produce Sally's been hard at work. Teespring store, promo code DRAFT the next 3 days, 21% off your order. And also every single dollar, the profits from Teespring, everything donated in the Super Chat and the Venmo goes to the Sheridan Story, helping combat childhood hunger in the Twin Cities during the draft this week. So do that up. You guys are the best. Talk to you tomorrow. Skol. Production value.